school. Every morning he strolled down the hallway and saw the children in their classes. He saw them learning shapes and colors and numbers and letters. He saw them reading and writing and drawing and painting. He saw them making dinosaurs and forts and pyramids. Oh, he would say, aren't these fine children? Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine school? Near Mr. Keen's school, Tilly lived with her parents and her brother and her dog Beans in a small house next to a big tree. On Monday and Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday and Friday, Tilly went off to school. At school, Tilly learned her shapes and her colors, her numbers, and her letters. Sometimes when she saw Mr. Keen standing in the hallway, he would wave. Aren't these fine children, he said to himself. Aren't these fine teachers? Isn't this a fine, fine school? On the weekends, Saturday and Sunday, Tilly climbed her favorite tree, and she took Beans on a walk and she threw the stick for him. And she pushed her brother on a swing and tried to teach him how to skip. But on Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays, Tilly went off to school. Beans and her brother did not like to see her go. Hurry, hurry, hurry home, her brother would call. One day, Mr. Keen called all the students and teachers together and said, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Saturdays too." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Saturdays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keen that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers, of all the learning that they were doing every day. And so, that Saturday, Tilly set off for school. But it's Saturday. What about the swings? Her brother called. The following month, Mr. Keen announced, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on Sundays too." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Sundays, but no one knew how to tell Mr. Keen that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers, of all the learning they were doing every day. And so, that Sunday, Tilly set off for school. "But it's Sunday. What about skipping?" her brother called. The following month, Mr. Keen called everyone together and said, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school on holidays too. On Easter and Ramadan, on Thanksgiving and Christmas. How about Hanukkah? On all the holidays on every calendar." The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on holidays. But once again, no one knew how to tell Mr. Keen that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers and all of the learning they were doing every day. And so, on Christmas, Tilly set off for school. "But it's Christmas. What about Christmas?" her brother called. The following month, Mr. Keen once again called everyone together and he said, "This is such a fine, fine school. I love this school. Let's have more school. From now on, let's have school in the summertime too. All summer long, every single day." "How much we will learn," he said. "We can learn everything. We can learn all about numbers, more letters, more colors and shapes. We can learn about the Romans and the Egyptians and the Greeks. We can learn about dinosaurs with castles and everything. We will just learn everything. The teachers and the students did not want to go to school on Saturday and Sunday and the holidays and all summer long, every single day. But no one knew how to tell Mr. Keen that. He was so proud of the children and the teachers and all the learning that they were doing every day. And so, on the first day of summer, Tilly set off to school. But it's summer! What about summer, her brother called. And that day, Tilly went to see Mr. Keen. She stood in his office in the front of his desk. What a fine school this is, Mr. Keen said. What amazing things everyone is learning. Yes, Tilly said, we certainly are learning some amazing things. It's a fine school, said Mr. Keen. But Tilly said, not everyone is learning. What? Said Mr. Keen. He looked very worried. Who? Who isn't learning? Tell me, and I will make sure that they learn. My dog, Beans. He hasn't learned how to sit, Tilly said, and he hasn't learned how to jump over the creek. Oh, said Mr. Keen. Yeah, and my little brother, he hasn't learned how to swing or skip. Oh, said Mr. Keen. And I, she said. But you go to school, Mr. Keen said, to our fine school. True, Tilly said, but I haven't learned how to climb very high in my tree. And I haven't learned how to sit in my tree for over an hour. Oh, Mr. Keen said. And that day, Mr. Keen walked up and down the halls, looking at children and their teachers. Up and down he walked, up and down and up and down. The next morning, Mr. Keen called everyone together. The children and the teachers were very worried. Mr. Keen said, this is a fine school with fine children and fine teachers. But not everybody is learning. The children and the teachers looked very worried. Mr. Keen said, there are dogs who need to learn how to sit and how to jump creeks. What did he mean? He was now going to have the dog come to school? There are little brothers and sisters who need to learn how to swing and how to skip. Oh no, what did he mean? Was he going to have their younger brothers and sisters come too? The children and the teachers were very worried. And you, all of you, children and teachers, you need to learn how to climb a tree and then sit in it for an hour, Mr. Keen said. And the children and the teachers were very worried. And so, from now on, we will not have school on Saturdays or Sundays or holidays or in the summer. A huge, enormous roar cheered through the ceiling and floated out the windows so that everyone in the town could hear the fine children and the fine teachers shout out, fine. And that fine children and the fine teachers lifted Mr. Keen up and they carried him down the hallway, out the doors and through the town, up and down, in and out, and everywhere they went, the people said, what a fine school with such a fine teacher and fine children and a fine principal. Hi, boys and girls. My clue is my favorite pie is blueberry pie. Do you know who I am?